Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got L.A. Marzulli on the phone with me again today. He's author of 9 books. He tells you the truth about the coming deception, the Luciferian endgame to cause millions to deny Christ and to accept the Antichrist. Yesterday, we were talking about his recent trip to Peru, where he discovered these elongated skulls, and they're probably Nephilim skulls, as in hybrid, part alien, part human. It's real, and it's talked about in the Bible. Today, well, L.A., welcome to the Prophecy Club.
Thanks for having me back, Stan. Appreciate it.
Tell us about these ancient megalithic structures.
I'd love to. There's a place in Cusco, which is in Peru, about 13,000 feet above sea level, and the place is called Sacsayhuaman, and this is a shot of it.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a pyramid in the way it is. It's stepped. So what am I seeing there?
What you are seeing is a series of walls.
Okay.
Look at this. And then look at this.
Okay.
And what we see, you can get a feel for how large these megalithic stones are.
Okay, each one of those stones are probably in the ballpark of 10 foot, some of them 10 by 20, some smaller too, but
Yes.
It looks to me like they are fit together like you couldn't even put a credit card between them.
Less than that. Try a hair, a human hair.
Hair
or
won't
a
go.
piece of paper.
Okay, so
Can't
how
do it.
can they get them that flat, that straight? Kind of like with the pyramid. The Giza pyramid, okay?
It's the same type of a mystery. You know, the Egyptian archaeologists will insist that Egyptians built it, and yet no one has ever demonstrated that you can cut limestone blocks the way they did and fit them like this and build something so precise like this. It is absolutely mind-boggling, and it's not a tomb. We know the Great Pyramid is not a tomb, but I digress. In Sacsayhuaman, we see the structures. We see these polygonal shapes, and some of these stones, these megaliths, weigh upwards of 20 tons or more, Some of them weigh as much as 100 tons, so we think. Okay, they're huge. And they are cut and placed with absolute precision. Now, the stone is andesite.
The thing that is interesting about the size of them is, A, how do you cut it so precisely so the next stone fits to the next one without even a hair going through it? Second is, how do you move something that big, kind of like the pyramid? How do you do that? Now, I've heard people say that.
So, in a way, sort of silly about a lot of the modern day archaeologists who insist that all this is, you know, the techniques that were there were lost. Well, isn't that convenient? You know, it's like, no, the techniques weren't lost. They were techniques which we've never had.
Wow.
How do you do that? Andesite stone is 7 on the most hardness scale, a diamond being 10, the hardest, okay? So in the Neolithic age, which is when they roughly date these things over 3,000 years ago, and they may be older, who knows? I think it's older. But let's just, for the sake of argument, say it's, 3,500 years old, 4,000 years old, whatever. They've got copper chisels. And even if you harden the copper chisels, even if you get into bronze, you can't cut andesite. And the only beast of burden that's indigenous in Peru or in South America at that time would be the llama. The Inca used the llama. The llama can carry about 20 to 30 pounds of weight on it. So here we've got a real problem. We've got megalithic stones, which weigh upwards of 100 tons or more, being quarried 40 miles away and 2,000 feet lower in altitude. Somehow they're carted from 40 miles away from the quarry and brought up to this site in Sacsayhuaman and placed with absolute precision that even in modernity, in the present day, we would be hard-pressed to do. I've gone to stonemasons. I've gone to engineers and architects and shown them the pictures, and they sort of laugh nervously. Well, we could do it with, time and material, lasers and diamond saws and all this stuff. Parts of the wall have come down because this thing is thousands of years old. The place is plagued by earthquakes, but much of it is still intact. What's interesting is, even today when you go there, what we see are the sides of the stones are perfectly polished. And I'll show you a picture of that in just a second. That begs the question, how are they doing this stuff? I mean, how are they polishing the stones so perfectly?
They didn't just cut them as if like you were to cut them by a laser. They actually cut them in such a way and even polished them so they fit together to a perfection level. The truth is we probably couldn't do that today. I mean, that cut you just showed me a picture of, we couldn't make that cut. See, we think in terms of everything being square. That was not square. I mean,
Nothing was.
No. Okay. It's not
Dan,
square.
there's no two stones that are alike. Every single stone is
Really?
different. And they did it because they could do it. The tools are not there. There's no vestiges of any of these tools. I mean, archaeologists have searched for, well, we must have the tools. Something must be around here. We must find out. There's nothing. Whoever did this, they left, and the tools that created it are gone with them. Look at the steps. This is above Sacsayhuaman. Look at how highly polished they are.
Wow.
Cut into the indigenous rock.
And every one of them is different.
Every single stone is different. It is
The point being is they had help. They had help from above, and it probably wasn't God. And this is probably part of your Nephilim, half man, half alien, and that proves the Bible. Wow, yeah. I wish you could see. All right, here. I know what. You know, if how you make that symbol sometimes, like at the end of a paragraph, and it kind of goes and dips down, and then it weaves back up. That's what I'm looking at. In other words, it was 3 stones. It was not square. It was not a flat cut. It's a rounded cut. How can I explain? In other words, a brick is a square oblong. Try to imagine that brick in some kind of a curve that does this and does that. Now, for you to put that brick in place, you got to have 3 other bricks that match that same, in some cases 4 other bricks that match that exact curve. I don't think we can do that today. Not to that skill level, not to that precision.
It would be astronomical. The cost would be astronomical, absolutely astronomical. And yet we see in antiquity, we see these sites everywhere. I mean, not only in Peru, but in Italy, there's a place that has megalithic walls, Baalbek. And it's funny, one of the critics was trying to tell folks that the large stone in Baalbek, which is called the stone of the pregnant woman, which weighs, depending on who you talk to, there's no way to weigh it, but they estimate at least 1,200 tons to 1,600 tons, somewhere in there, okay? This thing is almost 70 feet long, 14 feet high, 16 feet in width, roughly those dimensions. It's absolutely humongous. Well, an archaeologist just recently, last year, 2014, had the bright idea, well, why don't we dig around the stone and see what's there? So she did, and guess what? They found 2 other stones, and one of them is much larger. One of them is much larger than the stone of the pregnant woman. They estimated it 1,800 tons. And, you know, this was one particular gentleman tried to tell me that Romans for 100 years took slaves with diorite rocks and iron chisels and went ting, 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 ting.
No, I can't do that.
Made these megaliths. Well, if they did that, how in God's name were they able to move them? How were they able to break them out of the quarry? And here's something else to think about, Stan. You've got something that weighs 1,800 tons. One researcher was trying to tell us that, oh, there's no mystery here. They just drilled on the side. Let's pretend this is a 1,200 ton stone. They drilled it on the side and put these large wheels and wheeled the stones into place. It's absolute nonsense. I've gone to an engineer. It's impossible. Impossible. In antiquity, to build a wheel like that would have been just monumental, and there's no evidence on any of these megaliths that they were moved like this.
Okay, there was no places where they'd been poked into and drill
like
marks or anything. So basically, the only way would realistically explain this is somebody had an anti-gravity device that after the stone was cut, they could lift that stone up and move it 2,000 feet higher on the mountain and set it exactly, perfectly, and precisely in place. Anti-gravity is the only way it could be done.
And that's what we think it is. I would concur with that. We're looking at technology that defines, or excuse me, not defines, but defies our present physics. It's beyond our space-time, energy, and we get this. How does an axe head float? Why does an axe head float? And we know that that's a biblical narrative. The axe head floats. That's defying gravity. So we've got places where that happens. How does Philip move from one place after he's done talking to the Ethiopian eunuch, right? How does it go from one place to the other? Bam, just like that. How does that happen? How does Jesus walk on water? He's defying the laws of physics. How does the angel who appears to Peter the chains fall off of Peter, the jail cell opens up. All the Roman soldiers are asleep. The large prison doors open by themselves. He's manipulating matter, energy, time, and space as we know it. And the good angels can do that. Well, guess what? The bad angels can do the same type of thing too. And what we know, what we believe is that these artifacts, these megalith artifacts, which are found all over the world, specifically in Peru, in Italy, in Baalbek, which is in Lebanon and other places, we believe that they were done through some sort of anti-gravity device. It's not thousands of slaves with ropes and pulleys and chains and all this stuff. And there are people who will vehemently disagree with that. And most of the time, the people who vehemently disagree have a non-supernatural worldview, which means that they don't believe in the biblical narrative, because the biblical narrative is all supernatural pretty much 24/7. Everything in the pages of the Bible, except some genealogies, and even the genealogies have a supernatural element to them. And that, you know, it traces back, and there's certain things that are happening in the genealogies and some of the battle reports. But the whole book, our book, the Holy Bible, is basically a series of supernatural events. And it teaches us how to interface with the supernatural, what to avoid, what to embrace. We put on the armor of God on a daily basis when we go out. That's an admonition by Paul. Put on the armor of God. Why does he tell us to do that? Because our adversary, the devil, goes about as a roaring lion. And so by putting on the armor of God, that's how we equip ourselves to go out and do battle. And many Christians, when I speak all over the place, I get a show of about maybe 10, 20% of the people in an audience, in any given audience, who actually put on the armor that day. We're called to do that on a daily basis. We are involved in the supernatural. The supernatural is manifesting. These are the last days. His return is soon. But so when we go back in antiquity and we look at all these bizarre places like Sacsayhuaman, like Ollantaytambo, which again is in Peru, and they show us that there's a technology that's in place which we can't, that's unrivaled even in the modern age. Even in our present day, we would be hard-pressed to construct something like Sacsayhuaman. Could we do it with styrofoam? Sure we could. Andesite stone? No way. No way.
Essentially, you're saying that the Bible is true, that we are in the last days. All of this points towards the last days, confirms the Bible, confirms the prophecies, and it's time for the atheists to come out of the closet. It's time for them, the evolutionists, to come out of the dark ages and realize there is God in heaven. He wrote a book. It's called the Bible, and he sent a son. It's called Jesus, and you better get on board or you're going to be burning, to put it lightly.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, that's what, look, all this stuff that we read about in our Bibles is true. And it's ongoing, and Yeshua, Jesus, tells us it'll be like the days of Noah when he returns. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the gist of it. And that begs the question, what differentiates the days of Noah? And that's what On the Trail of the Nephilim, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and the Watchers 1 through 8 DVDs. I mean, that's what we talk about. We talk about the supernatural. Watchers 6 specifically really gets into our trip to Peru. Some of the photography that we found there is absolutely astonishing. I want to show you a picture. This is from on the Trail, Volume 1. I think you'll find this just incredible. This is a skull. This is a skeleton that was found on the way down to the Sacred Valley. It is called Waki. Let me move back a little bit.
Yeah, that's not human. That's strange.
It's not. And get this, Stan. It stands a little under 3 feet high. It's missing 2 ribs. The orbits for the eyes are incredibly long.
Yeah.
And a British film crew took DNA samples out illegally. So, you know, we don't know the provenance of it, or maybe they didn't. Maybe there was I think there might be a Peruvian anthropologist who got the samples out for them. You think this would be breaking news. They did the test. The mitochondrial DNA of that artifact, which was called Waki, was human, okay? The mitochondrial coming from the mother, they identified as human. But get this, the nuclear DNA, which comes from the father, completely unknown. And that fits our hypothesis of the fallen angelic host coming down and mating with the women. Well, you say, well, hey, that's not giants. I get it. What our hypothesis extends to the idea that the fallen one, the fallen cherub, Satan, is attempting to create man in his own image. And this is why the constant genetic manipulation, trying to figure out how to do it, and he can't do it.
That's all
He
your
can't
alien
do it.
abduction stuff. Okay.
And that gets into we'll talk about it on another program. Absolutely. I really want to talk about Watchers 7 and Watchers 8. When we took out the implant, I'll tease your audience. We took out an implant before you roll your eyeballs. We've got all the scientific data on it. We did it in a way that you could present into a court of law, and you could say without a reasonable doubt this is true. Literally, we would get a verdict in our favor because everything is documented on film. It's all been tested with scientific instruments, and what we experienced was supernatural warfare 2.0. But we'll talk about that in another program up and coming.
What is the most supernatural event that you have had take place? I mean, your whole world is dealing with supernatural stuff. Surely you have had something that'll raise your eyebrows.
Oh, absolutely, and that goes back into our Watchers 8 when we went into the operating theater to take the implant out. And I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that's okay. We can talk about it in depth later. But the bottom line was the object, which we had tested on an ultrasound machine, CAT scan, X-rays, Gauss meter. It was giving off a frequency of 330 hertz, which is a radio frequency. I mean, highest ranges. The thing vanished, wasn't there. Well, couldn't find it. With an ultrasound machine, was 2 weeks later we had found it. And I got a little tap on the shoulder from the Spirit of a living God. You need to pray. And here I am in a room full of unbelievers except for Richard. And I just didn't ask for permission. I said, guys, it's going to sound really strange, but I'm going to pray and I'm going to do it now. I took authority because as a believer in Jesus, the Messiah, I have the authority, his authority. And I walked in that authority and I said, Father, if there are forces which are cloaking this device, I pray that you would break that authority and do it now. Less than 2 minutes later, the object appears like this on the ultrasound monitor. Out of nowhere, it just comes up on the screen like that. The screen's blank, and all of a sudden it just goes, and we've got it on film. And that's Spiritual Warfare 2.0. But I'll tell you that one of the
that's on one of the DVDs.
Yeah, it's on Watchers 8. It's all on Watchers 8.
Okay, take a second and tell us about these DVDs again. Everybody going to be calling for this one, okay?
We track this thing in Watchers 7 and Watchers 8. Watchers 7 is physical evidence of the UFO phenomena, and the stuff that we find and we show you is absolutely groundbreaking and startling. They're firsts. They really are. In Watchers 8 and Watchers 7, we show you Bill. He's the guy that was claimed to have been abducted. Okay, that's a crazy claim. What if there's scientific proof? Guess what? We find the scientific proof. We show you that in Watchers 7, and in Watchers 8, we actually extract the implant. All that's on film. It's there. Then we're in SEAL Lab examining the implant under scanning electron microscope. But I'll tell you, and I mean, these Watchers series, and it's a great deal. It's all 8 in the Watchers 8 box set. It's a value of $160. I know you're selling them for $120. So, I mean, it's a great deal, and you'll be informed. And you'll want to show these to your family and your friends because, you're not beating people over the head with the Bible. We don't do that in Watchers. We're very subtle. Very, very subtle, because we want you to bring your unsafe friends over and open up the conversation, and that's what the Watchers will do. But I got to tell you, one of the most strangest episodes happened about a year ago, and I was on a site in Minnesota someplace, and we were up there because there were mounds there, and we were talking to the landowner, and we were also protocoling the Native American tribe and trying to get permission to dig the site. So far, they have not said yes or no, so it's still up in the air. But I was with Chief Joseph Riverwind, and he'll be joining us at the Nephilim Mounds 3 conference this September in Ohio, but I digress. The bottom line was Chief Joseph and I are there, and we had a wonderful dinner by this little lake up in Minnesota, thousands of lakes up there, and we're sitting on this bench by the lake shore, about 50 feet, maybe 60 feet away from the lake. It's just this wonderful summer evening. We just had a nice dinner, and we're sitting there face to face on this bench, swapping Jesus stories, what the Lord's been doing in our life, okay? Talking about the Lord, talking about the Gospels, talking about just different things about the Lord and the Nephilim and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, Chief Joseph looks at me and goes, L.A., did you hear that? And I went, no, what? Because my hearing from too many years as a worship leader. Anyway, so he goes, that kid on the boat, which was docked on the lake, just said in a deep gravel voice, L.A., we know who you are.
Oh,
LA,
really?
we know who you are.
Hmm.
And
Well,
we got up and approached him and immediately started praying out loud. And we rebuked the spirit in the name of Jesus. The moment we said the name of Jesus, he put his hands up over his ears like this and basically ran away from us. He was a demoniac. We got in the car and we left, and I just felt, no, we got to go back and confront this kid. He's about 16, 17 years old. So we did. We went back and confronted him. And when he saw us coming, he jumped out of the boat and went, ah, like that. And we immediately prayed again. And he began to speak in what's known as a twilight language. Those who are possessed will speak in a demonic tongue. It's similar to tongues that the glossolalia that we have in the first century from Paul, and we read about all that in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 14. This is a counterfeit of that. And he was speaking in tongues, and of course, we were just praying and rebuking everything. I've been through that before with SRA multiples who will, send demons and curse you. So you gotta immediately, when you hear it, you gotta immediately rebuke it in the name of Jesus. And we were doing that, and he was trying to cast out the Holy Spirit out of us. That's what he was in English. He was saying, the spirit must come out of you and all this, and I'm greater than the spirit that lives in you. And we said, no, you're not. Greater is he that is in us than he that is in you.
Quote that word, brother.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty strange stuff. But yeah, those are a couple of instances for you.
Wow. Yeah. Well, all right. So we've got a few minutes. They're going to get the 8 DVD set for $120. Then you've got 2 books. Explain the 2 books.
Yeah, On the Trail of a Nephilim, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 and Volume 2. These are oversized books. You can see the pictures all the way through them. Are 8.5 by 11.
Right.
Pictures are all the way through the books. So as you're looking at them, you can see for yourself as you're reading. There it is, right in front of you.
Yeah, so you get these books, guys.
Cutting edge stuff.
You're atheists. You're agnostics. You're evolutionists will have no answer. Okay. Only the Bible provides an answer. Each one of the books, $25. You're going to get them both. You're going to call and get all day 8 DVDs, $120. You're going to get both books, $25 each. You're going to get it by calling 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. I don't think we have it on the website. We just did this real quick here today. 785-266-1112. Large, full color pictures of things that your eyes will be rolling out on your cheek. Right, brother?
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, I guarantee it.
Now, did you feel the presence of God guiding you? Surely you did.
Absolutely.
Through this whole thing.
Absolutely. And still ongoing today. Absolutely.
You're called of God to do this. I mean, this is really exposing evil, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's exposing what happened in antiquity, and it links it with the modern UFO phenomenon, which we can talk about, in another upcoming show or whatever.
So this busts all kinds of bubbles for people. This shows that there were Nephilim. This shows why when God told Joshua to go into the land and told him to just kill man, woman, and child, it explains why. God wasn't just trying to be mean. He was getting rid of bad seed, and this proves it. Okay?
That's correct.
Getting these will open your eyes and help you to understand Bible prophecy, help you to understand the things that are coming. And matter of fact, you might want to even order another set because you're gonna have people come over. That's right.
Give them out. Seriously.
Yeah, you'll have to give them away. Matter of fact, we were just talking about this past weekend how many DVDs get given away. So you better go ahead and get 2 sets. 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. Tell us real quick again, Watchers 6, 7, and 8. Those last 3 DVDs cover what?
6 is our Peru trip, and 7 and 8. 7 is the physical evidence, and of course, 8 is the whole idea of something being cloaked. It's groundbreaking stuff. It's the production value is incredible. Watchers 7, we won the EBE Best Picture and People's Choice Award that year, which was a really great honor for us. And people are holding, and I'm not making this up, Stan, people are holding watchers parties all over the country. And they invite their friends and families, and they do Watchers Marathons. There's 8 DVDs in this set. They're all different. There's guys like, I mean, the people that we interview are just incredible all through this set. And I promise you, you will not be bored. I promise you that.
All right. Well, L.A., I appreciate you being on. We'll have to have you back again sometime.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Stan.
God bless you, brothers.
God bless you, too.
Okay, so here's the deal. If you want to get it, grab your cell phone, type in this number right now, 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. Again, we probably don't have this on the website yet. You got to call 785-266-1112. You're going to get Watchers, 8 DVD set, gift of $120. You're going to get both of the On the Trail of Nephilim, 1 and 2, $25 each. You're going to call 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. You're going to get Watchers, 8 DVD set, gift of $120. You're going to get both of the On the Trail of Nephilim, 1 and 2, $25 each. You're going to call 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. 785-266-1112. One more last time, 785-266-1112. Did you get that? Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers. And thank you for your regular monthly support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. Shocking heresy and blasphemy. Using over 100 video clips, you will see large, well-known ministers making shocking statements contrary to the Bible. So bad, you'll have to see it to believe it. See, some of most popular pastors seduce you with lying signs and wonders. Teach a false Christ. Yes, it is true. Your mouth will fall open. The worst sins of the Bible in these DVDs called Error in the Church. Nation-killing sins in America. You won't be disappointed. You'll be furious, beyond angry. I thank God that Leslie showed me these shocking errors, and I would never have known it or believed it if I had not actually seen it. Call today and give a $50 gift, and we will immediately ship you the first 3 DVDs. 30 days later, we'll charge your card for the second $50 gift, then send you the final 8 DVDs, totaling 11 DVDs. 30 days later, we'll charge the third $50 gift. 30 days later, the fourth and final $50 gift, making it easy for you to get this fantastic set of 11 DVDs. That is 4 monthly gifts of $50 each. Error in the Church, 13 topics, 11 DVDs, valued at $330. Get started today for a gift of just $50. Call 785-266-1112 and ask them for the Error in the Church offer. $50 donation gets you 3 DVDs heading your way today. Error in the Church, 785-266-1112. Error in the Church, 785-266-1112. Call today. Yes, you can still get the 2 DVDs by Michael Snyder, Prepare for the Economic Collapse, World War III, and the Regathering of the 10 Lost Tribes of Israel, for a gift of $50. However, the best deal is get the April gift offer, which includes the last 4 speakers having 6 DVDs, a value of $180 for a gift of just $90. In addition to Michael Snyder's 2 DVDs, you get Standing for the Lord, which tells the amazing story of how God got Christine Weick past 2 key entry doors and 2 checkpoints to proclaim Jesus is Lord during Muslims worshiping Allah in a Christian church. Then in Prophecies and the Bible Codes, Jonathan Wright is the only Christian that is researching Bible prophecy in the Bible Codes. He's found amazing information presented in over 100 charts in this triple DVD set. So that would be 6 DVDs over the last 4 speakers at the Prophecy Club in the April gift offer, valued at $180 for a gift of just $90. Call 785-266-1112 and ask for the April gift offer, or go to prophecyclub.com. That's the April gift offer, 4 speakers, 6 DVDs, valued at $180 for a gift of just $90. 785-266-1112 or prophecyclub.com. Order today.